The following is a World-Class Bullshitters exclusive.
So it was just announced that Damon Lindelof has been working on a secret Star Wars movie with Miss Marvel director Sharmeen Obaid-Chinoy.
Who?
Exactly. Secrets are wonderful. They're grand. They're worrisome when they come from this guy. Meet Damon Lindelof. Next to J.J. Abrams, Damon Lindelof is one of the biggest con artists in the history of entertainment. Damon Lindelof is a writer, mostly known for Lost. The end of Lost sucked. Holy fuck did it suck. It was really, truly, completely the worst. A mushy, indefensible cop-out that failed to resolve many of the show's central mysteries and seemed to argue against the reason in favor of a vaguely defined faith in... what exactly? Did the writers themselves even know? The show's final episode, and really its entire final season, was so bad that it has completely rewritten the popular mythology surrounding what was once TV's most popular mythology. There was a New York Times article about the Lost showrunner Damon Lindelof. One titled, "Damon Lindelof Promises His New Show Won't End Like Lost," rings truer as the bellwether of public perception. The show's most vocal fan contingent was not pleased. After the finale, they took to Twitter, where Lindelof was an active and lively presence, to tell him how he ruined their favorite show and wasted 6 years of their lives. Critics declared that Lost ended in the worst possible way. George R.R. Martin, author of Game of Thrones novels and co-executive producer on their HBO adaptation, summed up the magnitude of the disappointment when he told The New Yorker his biggest fear is ending his own series. What if I do a Lost? Well, if only we had known then what we know now. Also, we now know officially when his next book is coming out. Never. Outside of Lost, Damon Lindelof produced J.J. Abrams' Star Trek, wrote its sequel, wrote World War Z, Tomorrowland, Prometheus, and The Watchmen Show. What do all of these things have in common? Survey says they absolutely suck. No wonder they're keeping it a secret. Following months of speculation, Deadline is now hearing from several sources close to the project that not only is Damon Lindelof developing a new Star Wars film for Lucasfilm, but Sharmeen Obaid-Chinoy has been set as director. Lindelof is co-writing the project, though it's unknown at this time who his writing partner might be. Insiders say the script is still being written, which means production is likely far out. That said, sources add it was important for Lucasfilm and Lindelof that a director be brought in so that this person's own vision for where they see the story headed gets included in the script. Lucasfilm and reps for Obaid-Chinoy could not be reached for comment. As for what the film is actually focused on, that will remain under wraps as this project remains one of the more guarded secrets in all of Hollywood. As for when we will see this film, while it still seems a way off, the feeling, given how proactive execs were finding a director for this film, that this Star Wars feature seems to have the most momentum out of all the films currently in development at the studio. 2019's Episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker, was the last film to bow in theaters, with the studio focusing on its TV projects over the recent years since then. That said, they have a number of films in development, including this one, and Lucasfilm has been pretty clear that they want to make the next series of films have a story they are happy with, and they don't need to rush out to the next franchise. As for Obaid-Chinoy, the highly sought-after director continues to build her strong ties with Disney after successfully doing several episodes of Miss Marvel for Marvel Studios. So that didn't make me feel any better. Damon Lindelof is a name I haven't heard in a while, and I've been a lot happier because of it. Speaking of names, the director, Sharmeen Obaid-Chinoy. They're treating her like she's a big deal because she's bringing a personal angle to the story. Well, the only notable thing she's done is direct Miss Marvel. What do people think about Miss Marvel? Not a lot. It was the worst performing MCU show. It was called a disaster. So that's why we're going to attach this random name to the film. Lucasfilm has a long history of canceled Star Wars films. There was Colin Trevorrow's Episode 9. Then there was the Boba Fett movie. After that, the Mos Eisley Spaceport film. After that, Splinter of the Mind's Eye. Then the Benioff and Weiss trilogy, the Rian Johnson trilogy, and Rogue Squadron. Now, technically, the Rian Johnson trilogy is still being made, but I doubt that, and so does everyone else. That's a lot of unmade Star Wars films, and that's all in the last 5 years. This is a trend that's killing Star Wars because they can't get anything into theaters, only streaming. We've heard from those in the know that streaming shows don't build properties, so Disney is creating shows in a vacuum that cease to exist after the last episode drops. No one talks about them. It's just on to the next. Before Miss Marvel could even cool down, here comes She-Hulk. Same with Star Wars. Obi-Wan was terrible, but there's Andor to put you to sleep. I'll spare you the obvious, but we all know who is to blame here. Thankfully, there's a news article about her and how she needs to stop. Disney is reportedly taking a do or do not approach to Star Wars and pressing pause on formally announcing new projects and creators amid a stagnant film slate. The storied franchise has been on theatrical hiatus since the release of 2019's Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker, the final Skywalker saga film, shifting focus to the television side of the galaxy far, far away with acclaimed Disney Plus series The Mandalorian and Andor. What about the other ones? They're not acclaimed, so you don't mention them? Following word that Lost and Star Trek scribe Damon Lindelof is scripting yet another untitled Star Wars film, insider Matthew Belloni reports Lucasfilm's president Kathleen Kennedy has been advised by Disney to stop announcing projects and creative partners. According to Belloni, an entertainment lawyer and former editor of The Hollywood Reporter, the reason is to quell online backlash when those projects don't actually happen, as the case frequently is at Lucasfilm. In late 2018, after Solo: A Star Wars Story failed to take flight at the box office, then CEO Bob Iger declared that Star Wars was on a slowdown. Plans for more anthology films, including spin-offs starring Boba Fett and Obi-Wan Kenobi, were eventually reworked into Disney Plus shows. Iger told The Hollywood Reporter in 2018, "I think the mistake that I made, I take the blame, was too much, too fast. I think we are going to be a little more careful about volume and timing." At the time, the studio was plotting a post-Skywalker saga Star Wars galaxy with two separate trilogies from high-profile creatives. Game of Thrones creators David Benioff and D.B. Weiss developed a Star Wars saga that's deader than Ned Stark. They stepped away from the galaxy far, far away in 2019 to pursue a Netflix deal. The Last Jedi director, Rian Johnson, has been attached to his own Star Wars trilogy since 2017, but that too is taking a back seat to the Knives Out sequels. He's created for Disney Plus' rival streamer, Netflix. That same year, Lucasfilm closed out the Skywalker saga with The Rise of Skywalker. Disney officially announced Marvel Studios president Kevin Feige, chief architect of the blockbuster Marvel Cinematic Universe, was developing a Star Wars film produced by Kennedy. I forgot about that one. Another Marvel movie maker, Thor Ragnarok, Thor Love and Thunder director Taika Waititi, will also co-write and direct an all-new film after directing an episode of the live-action Star Wars TV series The Mandalorian. During Disney's Investor Day in 2020, it was announced Wonder Woman filmmaker Patty Jenkins would direct Rogue Squadron, set within the sequel trilogy timeline and focus on a new generation of X-Wing fighter pilots. That project, originally set for December 2023, has stalled and has since been removed from Disney's release calendar. Another project with little momentum is one not formally announced by Lucasfilm. In 2020, The Hollywood Reporter reported Slate and Sweetheart director J.D. Dillard was developing a Star Wars spin-off with Luke Cage and Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. writer Matt Owens. It was unclear whether that film would be intended for theatrical release or go straight to streaming on Disney+. Disney has bookmarked two untitled Star Wars films for December 19th, 2025 and December 17th, 2027, but the franchise's future in theaters is murky. Earlier this year, Kathleen Kennedy explained why Star Wars shifted to streaming television over feature films and clarified that the next era of Star Wars films have been in movement all along. As we leave the Skywalker saga, we all have this great, exciting work happening on the television side that informs so much of where we're going. We want to be very intentional about that, Kennedy told Total Film. We have great talent that we're working with. People who care so deeply about what the next iteration of Star Wars is and about getting people back into movie theaters so we can really come out with a bang. That's important to us. This woman is not very good at her job. I'd like to apologize because I promised you I would spare you the obvious. The statement about her job performance was obvious. I'm sorry. In all seriousness, Kathleen Kennedy has been a thorn in the side of Star Wars for a long time, dare I say since the beginning. We're nearing the 10-year anniversary of Disney buying Star Wars. We'll have a video on D-Day later. Since 2012, Star Wars has been a constant disappointment. Why am I supposed to get excited about this film that probably won't get made? Rogue Squadron had Patty Jenkins involved because she directed Wonder Woman and her dad was a pilot. This director is mostly known for documentaries about social issues and Miss Marvel. I guess I shouldn't be too concerned since she won an Oscar, but then again, so did Chloe Zhao, and look how the Eternals turned out. I don't see this movie moving forward. Damon Lindelof is one of the most hated writers in the modern age because of all the honey-dicking he did to the audience. He dangled threads for years, and they were resolved so poorly or not resolved at all. Everything Damon Lindelof touched turned to shit. Just look at Watchmen. That was canceled after one season. Writer Alan Moore was just interviewed and he gave an honest opinion of Lindelof.
He stinks and I don't like him.
If this Star Wars film somehow gets made, expect The Last Jedi to finally be topped as the worst Star Wars film ever. So folks, what did you think of this news? Another Star Wars film has been announced. That's like another day that ends in Y happening tomorrow. It's inevitable, just like Thanos. So here are today's 3 questions. 1. What is your absolute favorite Star Wars movie? 2. What is your absolute least favorite Star Wars movie? And 3. Has Disney Star Wars made anything you liked? If so, tell us down below. But folks, thank you for watching. I'm going to get out of here because I have more content to make. So do us a favor, before you get going, make sure you hit the thumbs up, make sure that you comment below, subscribe to the channel, and do us one last favor. Share the video. Even if it's just one like from your aunt, or your friend or that guy you met at GameStop, it counts. So do us a favor, help us out, it'll help the channel grow. And folks, we've been seeing a lot of growth lately, so welcome to our new subscribers, welcome to the new listeners, and join us this Thursday at 8:35 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for the podcast, and Tuesdays for the High Council here on World Class Bullshitters. If you didn't back Tits and Art, well, you missed out on the campaign. It is in demand, and you can get yourselves a copy, but I already ordered the book. I know how finite the amount is, and once it's gone, it's gone. So go over to titsandart.com, grab yourselves a copy, sign up, get Wokebusters. That'll drop next year very early. And in the meantime, folks, be smart, be safe, be cool, but always be excellent to each other.